my awareness of my family's involvement with history in the North lifted up that there's a collective amnesia that particular part of the world lives with that's very powerful and prevents a lot of open conversation. And in recognizing that I had an ancestor in the slave trade, as part of my own particular pilgrimage or journey, I wanted to go to Africa to visit the places that he actually had visited during the 1740s, to be able to stand in the very same places that he had stood as he made negotiations for human beings. And confronting the legacy of slavery on that level in that place, for me, empowered me to take a next critical step, which was to try to locate a living descendant of an African my family enslaved. That I had to somehow find a way to break through my own fear about possibly speaking about the institution of slavery, to talk a little bit about white privilege with a human being and a family who were directly connected to mine, where my family had enslaved theirs and had forever shifted the course of their family's life. And what could they possibly want from me? What would they possibly think of me? And what would I have to be able to give up, to be able to be present to them, to be in conversation with them, and to begin to develop a relationship with them.
The power of tapping into that unknown history for African American people is the fact that we do not have a history that we can relate to. We are what I consider more or less the stolen history has been taken away from us, so we don't really know where we came from. I was fortunate to have been given little clues along the way by family members who talked about the black woman and the white man who had the 7 children. And they would talk about it, but it was always a story of kind of hush-hush. It was also a story of, I could tell it had a lot of heartache in it, but it was also a story about slavery, but it wasn't about slavery to my family, because they actually would tell you that this was a great love story. They didn't want it to be. It hurt to have it be about slavery, but the end result is it was about slavery.
I didn't know very much about my family history growing up. I learned that I in fact had a number of slaveholders on both sides of my family, including one from Mississippi who I've learned a lot about now. And in fact, he wrote a book called A History and Defense of African Slavery. I don't think anybody in my living family was aware of that at all. And it's a 200-page book. And I've just come to learn about a history that is extremely important to European Americans as well as African Americans. And I've come to learn how we are impacted by that history, how our lives now are very much impacted by that history, not disconnected at all.